Justin, you've done all of this work. Over the recent days, everyone said, okay, they're pointing the finger at Cook and Letitia James and Adam Schiff. So what about in your own house? So you went and looked in their house and his cabinet. 3 cases within the Trump administration that certainly seem to meet Bill Pulte's definition of what should be investigated. 2 primary residences at the same time. He says that should get a criminal referral. What'd you find?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things. First of all, I've been spending a lot of time on the phone with real estate lawyers, and they told me, first of all, that what the Trump administration is saying is evidence of mortgage fraud has been mischaracterized, and that sometimes there might be legitimate reasons why you might have 2 of these mortgages, and you really have to look at the facts of each case, figure out intent. But, as you said, by the standard they have put out there, all 3 of these cabinet officials, I think the strongest example is the labor secretary, have 2 of these primary residence mortgages that tend to get lower interest rates. In the case of the labor secretary, Chavez DeRemer, these 2 mortgages were secured within 2 or 3 months of each other by both her and her husband, one for a residence in Oregon, one in Arizona. As far as we've been able to tell, they didn't actually move to the home in Arizona, even though their signatures are on a mortgage document that says they have to move there.
And they were known from your reporting to use it for vacations as well.
Yeah, they'd been spending time in Arizona vacationing, so it seems like it may be a vacation home. She certainly has not moved there, and the mortgage document in black and white says you have to at least intend to live there as your principal residence for a year. By the way, I should also add, we did go directly to Bill Pulte, who's been leading the charge on this,
right, who we just heard there,
and presented these cases, and we just did not get any comment.
No
from
answer.
them.
No. Oh gosh, if that's the case, we're going to be hot on it, right? No.
They didn't respond.
They didn't respond. Okay. So what are the similarities between Trump administration officials and Trump's, I guess there's no other way to describe Cook and Letitia James and Adam Schiff, other than his enemies, his rivals, in terms of the mortgages?
So each of these cases have, again, like their own set of specific facts, and also each of these cases, including with Cook and Schiff, we just don't have all the information around what their intent was, the exact circumstances. But with Senator Schiff, for example, one of the allegations against him by the administration has been exactly what we saw with the labor secretary and also the transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, which is that he got 2 of these primary residence mortgages for 2 properties in a relatively short time span in the same year.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we saw with the labor secretary, Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, and his wife, who's a Fox News host here in New York. They got a primary residence mortgage for their place in New Jersey. They just bought a new place in Washington, D.C., also primary residence. One thing we found looking at that case was Fox News had a segment a couple months ago featuring them cooking breakfast at home together, and that was in New Jersey, not in their new place in D.C. that their mortgage documents say are supposed to be their principal residence. So they did not respond to us when we asked where do they live.
Right. Now, of course, they all deny wrongdoing. But I mean, Mimi, I guess I'm just looking back to the original comment made by the person who is supposedly in charge of looking into this, Bill Pulte. If somebody is claiming 2 primary residences, that is not appropriate, and we will refer it for criminal investigation. So putting aside the legal standard, right, of every case is its own unique fingerprint, right? By their own standard, every single one of these things that you have just uncovered, Mimi, right, would be criminal investigation, right?
By the standard that Pulte said, yes, that he should now go refer them for criminal investigation. But the point here is this. First of all, these are not normally the kind of mortgage fraud is a common crime charged federally. This type of mortgage fraud, though, about
secondary residences,
right?
Yeah,
not usually a standalone crime. It's usually in the federal prosecutor toolbox. Like they have bigger other things to do. Mm-hmm. But what's going on here, which is so typical of this administration, is they are targeting particular people. It's not about. Whether or not anyone has committed any kind of mortgage fraud is fact specific. They are intent crimes. I don't know the answer to that sitting here. What I do know is it is very obvious the people who they have singled out for this very specific type of crime that they are putting this magnifying glass to are people who will have legitimate claims of vindictive prosecution, which is rare and hard to make. Right. But if ever there was a case for it, you've got Ed Martin in his, dressed up detective Inspector Clouseau outfit standing outside the Attorney General's house doing some kind of inspection. Like, this is an unheard of level of scrutiny.
But I think also there's not even an effort tonight to say, oh, okay, we're going to look into the ProPublica stuff, and if that's the case, it's not okay. There's not even an effort for that.
They're not pretending to give equal treatment.
What I think is almost, there isn't even a fig leaf being put up here.
Correct.
I mean, Brian, the Trump official who referred, Trump's, Schiff and Letitia James and Cook for prosecution, Bill Pulte, was asked today why. Like, why did you look into Lisa Cook at the Fed, her mortgages specifically, right? What would target this, right? She's a Biden appointee. She's in a 14-year term. She's voted against him on interest rates. Why her and not someone else? And his answer was he gets tips. He gets tips. And I just want to play what he said.
I'm not going to explain our sources and methods, where we get tips from, who are whistleblowers. It would be reckless for me to do that.
I mean, Brian, it's pretty incredible. We're getting tips on mortgage fraud, right? About specific people.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of defies a little bit of belief. If anything, I think Bill Pulte, if he got a tip, you could imagine it might be on social media where he has 3 million followers or something like that. He is a huge MAGA diehard on social media who is now in a position of power in the administration. So if you get a tip, maybe someone tweeted at him. But yeah, it is clearly sort of the selective targeting that we've seen.
I mean, Justin, just to be clear here, you don't need a tip. I mean, you actually just went and got the documents, right? If you wanted to look, you could look.
Right. I mean, I don't want to put my colleagues and myself down. I think we're decent reporters, but
that was not my intent.
This was but this was this was about a week of work going to the counties where we thought folks might have mortgages.
It was a lot of work, and you had to take time, but it wasn't as if you had to get secret tips.
These are fully public documents at the county level. Sometimes you have to pay $25 to get them or something like that, or show up at some obscure county office. But these are out there, and it's relatively easy, and certainly the Federal Housing Agency that Bill Pulte runs has all kinds of other documents that they could draw from if they
wanted to look. So, Bill, Trump was asked about this last week. Brian, I want to just play the exchange when he was asked about it. Here he is.
Is your administration weaponizing government by digging into the mortgage records of officials you don't like?
No, they're public. I mean, you can find out those records. You can go check out the records yourself.
I mean, Brian, he said it.
Yeah, it's right. You can go check them out yourself. I think what is concerning here, though, is that, as we've alluded to before, they also have a lot more records that you cannot go look for yourself. And as we see the administration continue to weaponize data, files, whatever they have on hand, you could see that going really bad places. You already see it, in fact, in the world of immigration enforcement, where IRS and ICE now have an unprecedented memorandum of understanding where ICE can tap into IRS data pretty much as they please. It's a really bad precedent, and it's a bad sign about where this might go. Especially if the mortgage stuff doesn't stick, who knows if they might just move on to the next thing. I think they've got a lot of powerful data that they can use. They've shown that they're willing to use it. I think that's alarming for anyone who runs afoul of the Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, Mimi, and also, if they're going to do criminal referrals, I mean, what sort of check and balance? And I don't say this, sarcastically, but what even exists in the system to say, well, I'm only going after him and not after you? Is there anything to stop that other than people like us sitting here and saying this is blatant hypocrisy?
That is exactly the right question to be asking, and it is a terrifying one right now because we can't look at this in isolation. I mean, this is an important issue to dig into, but it is part of a broader pattern. We use the word weaponization. It's an abuse of power because power of the criminal justice system, which is what we're talking about here, the power to criminally investigate people, charge them, et cetera, that's prosecutorial discretion. That has existed always, and we count on, prosecutors doing the right thing in the right way for the right reasons. That's the motto. It is now being turned on its head, and it is being used as a way to retaliate against, for example, Tish James, because she's a political opponent. I mean, she's been a thorn in his side. Against, the Cook, because they need to justify something against Schiff because he's a political opponent. That is not how our justice system in America is supposed to work. It is not supposed to be selective, that we decide, no, I'm